I want you to imagine, just for a second, that you know your hometown perfectly. Like you know every single street.
Right, every shortcut, the history of every building.
Yeah, exactly. You have mapped the entire thing in your head, and you navigate it with, total confidence.
Oh, sure.
But then, one afternoon, you take a slightly different turn down a blind alley, and you accidentally stumble upon a massive, invisible fortress right in your own backyard.
Oh, wow.
An entire hidden citadel just humming with power that has been sitting there silently the whole time you've lived there.
I mean, it would completely shatter your understanding of reality.
Right.
Your baseline assumption that you understand the boundaries of your world is just instantly destroyed.
It really is.
The environment you thought you mastered is suddenly revealed to be just this, well, tiny, carefully curated fraction of a much larger, much more dangerous picture.
And that terrifying paradigm shift is the core premise of today's deep dive.
It's a huge one today.
It is. We are jumping into a massive stack of source materials, spanning serialized web novels, fan-translated sci-fi archives, and extensive author notes. And it's all collectively known as the Guardians of the Black Expanse.
That's a great title.
It really sets the mood. So our mission today is to unpack this epic narrative about humanity's secret 10,000-year role as the silent protectors of the galaxy.
Right. We are talking about hidden history, the philosophy of ultimate sacrifice, and honestly just incomprehensible technological power.
Let's start with the setup, because the narrative brilliantly sets the stage with the Galactic Council.
Oh, the Council. Yeah, this governing body operates with the specific kind of arrogance that, well, only a massive, unopposed bureaucracy can really muster.
They're so smug about it, too.
Exactly. They claim every habitable star system has been cataloged, every major civilization contacted and integrated. They think they have mapped every corner of known space.
And they derive all their political power from that absolute certainty.
Right. Except, of course, for the blind spot.
Ah, yes, the blind spot. Because right at the edge of explored space sits the Black Expanse.
It's just a massive void.
Yeah, there are no stars on the navigational charts. No exploration ships ever return from deep expeditions into it. No communication signals ever escape its darkness.
And the Council's official stance is just wild.
It is. They look at this massive, terrifying anomaly and officially declare, well, there's nothing there.
Which is typical. The bureaucratic response to the unknown is almost always denial.
Yeah, if they can't measure it, they just ignore it.
Exactly. If a governing body cannot measure an anomaly, and more importantly, if they cannot control it, they just have to pretend it doesn't exist.
Because acknowledging it would be a disaster.
A total disaster. Acknowledging a massive, impenetrable void adjacent to their borders would devastate interstellar trade, it would ignite political panic, and completely undermine the societal stability they've built on this illusion of total knowledge.
But here's the thing, that illusion doesn't crack because of, like, a massive invasion fleet pouring out of the void.
You're right. It's much smaller than that.
It is. The trigger is this tiny, almost accidental discovery. There's a small, underfunded scientific station orbiting a distant frontier star, and they detect an ancient, repeating radio transmission just bouncing out of the dark.
The sheer mundanity of that discovery is what makes it feel so grounded.
Yeah, they don't even believe it at first.
Right. The scientists initially dismiss it as natural cosmic interference. They think, oh, it's maybe a pulsar or a dying star.
But then the translation algorithms finally crack it.
And the message is chillingly clear, playing on an endless loop. It says, "This is Earth Exploration Vessel Horizon. If anyone receives this transmission, humanity still survives."
Just reading that gives me goosebumps, because the scientists at the station, they freeze. And they freeze because the words Earth and humanity do not exist in any modern galactic database.
Zero historical references.
None. No biological records.
Yeah.
It's like digging up a perfectly preserved ancient Egyptian artifact that has made in Atlantis stamped on the bottom in plain English.
That's a great way to put it. It fundamentally breaks their accepted historical timeline.
The information inevitably leaks, right? Bypassing the Council's attempts to classify it.
Of course it does. You can't keep something like that quiet.
Citizens demand answers, and independent historians start digging through these forgotten, dusty, physical archives instead of relying on the digital network.
And they uncover a horrifying truth. Thousands of years earlier, there was another founding species.
Us.
Yeah, humans. a race that completely dominated early space exploration, scientific advancement, and military technology.
But I have to push back on the mechanics of that erasure here for a second.
Okay, what do you mean?
Like, how do you scrub an entire founding species from existence? You can't just highlight a civilization and hit the delete key.
Well, no, you can't.
Because there would be physical ruins, terraformed planets, genetic offshoots. How does a bureaucracy, even a massive galactic one, cleanly erase a dominant species?
Well, we have to reconsider what deleted means at a galactic scale.
Okay, lay it on me.
It is not just about wiping hard drives. It involves semantic cascades. If you have enough control over the central historical archives, you deploy algorithms that don't just erase the word human.
What do they do instead?
They rewrite the context around the negative space left behind. You alter the carbon dating algorithms for physical ruins so they are classified as natural formations.
Oh, wow. So you just change the science itself.
Exactly. You subtly adjust the historical narratives of other species to claim humanity's technological breakthroughs as their own. It is an active, ongoing, systemic lie.
Think about your own digital footprint right now listening to this. If someone with enough access wiped the servers holding your bank accounts, your social media, your birth certificate, your tax records,
Maybe be gone.
and then they programmed the system to actively reject any physical paper trail you tried to present. I mean, do you even exist to the rest of the world at that point?
You become a ghost.
Yeah, literally a ghost.
And when the broader galaxy realizes that their entire history is a curated garden, that their reality has been edited, it shifts the universe's baseline from an era of comfortable certainty directly into deep paranoia.
The council is completely forced to act. They can't ignore a ghost in the machine when that ghost is broadcasting directly from the black expanse.
No, they can't, so they panic.
Driven by this potent mix of fear, public pressure, and desperate curiosity, the council throws everything they have at the void.
It's the largest exploration mission in galactic history.
Hundreds of capital ships, thousands of the best scientific minds, flanked by heavy military escorts. They cross the final known star system and plunge straight into the dark.
And the environment immediately rejects them.
Oh, it goes terribly wrong so fast.
It's not just empty space, you know? The fundamental rules of physics begin to degrade. Sensors feed back impossible data.
Navigational gyros fail.
Yes. The background stars literally vanish from the scanners, replaced by these massive, impossible objects moving silently through the absolute dark. Objects that just dwarf the Council's dreadnoughts.
They travel through this sensory nightmare for 6 months, and then they hit a wall.
A literal wall.
And I don't mean a metaphorical barrier or a sensor glitch. They hit a physical, solid structure. It stretches farther than their instruments can measure.
Millions of kilometers high.
Right, constructed from unknown materials, rippling with these massive containment fields.
Let's look at the physics of a structure that size for a second.
Please do, because it breaks my brain.
Well, a solid wall, millions of kilometers high, suspended in deep space, should instantly collapse into a sphere under its own gravitational weight.
Because of gravity.
Right. To maintain that flat shape, whoever built it is likely using active support structures.
What does that mean exactly?
It means they are essentially firing streams of matter at relativistic speeds through internal magnetic conduits just to counteract gravity.
That is insane.
It is. The engineering required to build and stabilize this wall establishes a terrifying new hierarchy. The builders aren't just hiding, they possess industrial capabilities that make the entire Galactic Council look primitive.
It is like hiking into the deepest, most uncharted wilderness on Earth, fully believing you are the apex predator and suddenly walking face first into a sheer titanium wall reeking up into the clouds.
With a bouncer at the door.
Literally. Because a transmission appears on the Council fleet's monitors. A calm, almost bored voice says, "Identify yourselves." The explorers, they are sweating, right? They nervously reply that they represent the combined might of the Galactic Council.
They puff out their chests.
Yeah. There's a long pause, and the voice simply replies, "Wait for escort."
Wait for escort. The psychology of that phrase is just devastating.
It's such a flex.
It completely dismisses the Armada's military threat. The builders are telling the galaxy's best and brightest that they are mere visitors. This megastructure isn't a desperate defensive barricade to keep the Council out.
No, it's a quarantine zone.
Oh,
It is meant to keep something else in.
exactly.
When the passage through that gigantic wall finally opens, The expedition slowly moves through, and the true scope of humanity's exile is revealed.
It's breathtaking. They step into an entirely constructed universe.
Artificial suns locked in precise orbits.
Yeah, massive Dyson spheres capturing the energy of those stars, entire planets built from scratch.
They've crossed the threshold of a Kardashev Type 3 civilization.
For those who might not know, a Type I civilization harnesses the energy of its home planet. Type 2 harnesses the total energy of its host star.
And Type 3.
Type 3 harnesses the energy of an entire galaxy. The black expanse wasn't empty, it was a cloak. Humanity had concealed an impossibly advanced post-scarcity civilization right next door.
And the source material provides this brilliant contrast when the alien ambassadors finally dock at a massive orbital station to actually meet the architects.
The aliens are terrified.
Oh, they are bracing themselves to meet these heavily armored biomechanical warlords. But the human representatives walking out to greet them look incredibly ordinary.
Just humans.
2 arms, 2 legs, wearing simple clothes, no cybernetic weapons protruding from their shoulders.
The physical anticlimax is highly intentional there.
How so?
Well, true power at the Kardashev Type 3 scale does not require biological posturing. When your civilization can build artificial stars and manipulate the fabric of space-time itself, you don't need heavy armor.
You don't need to carry a rifle if you own the sun.
Exactly. You have transcended the need to look intimidating. So, an elderly human representative listens politely as the alien ambassadors explain how they tracked the signal.
And she just smiles and says, "We never expected anyone to find us."
Which is when the secret history is finally laid bare.
Yeah. 10,000 years ago, humanity pushed past the edge of the known galaxy and collided with the Void Empire.
This ancient extragalactic swarm civilization.
That consumed entire galaxies for raw materials. Humanity fought this desperate, brutal war, and they managed to break the Void Empire.
But the victory brought a horrific revelation.
Which was?
The deep intergalactic dark is filled with far worse apex predators. The Void Empire was merely a symptom of a much more hostile universe.
And this realization forces humanity into a civilization-altering philosophical choice.
Right. They looked back at the younger species developing in the galaxy, the species that would eventually form the Council.
And they realized those younger races were completely unequipped to handle the existential terror of the wider universe.
They would have been crushed psychologically.
But here is where I struggle with their logic, though.
Okay, what's the hang-up?
If humanity had the industrial capacity to build a 1,000,000-kilometer wall and construct artificial solar systems, why erase themselves? Why not just take control of the galaxy, uplift the younger races, and force everyone to prepare for the extragalactic threat together in a heavily militarized united front?
Well, because a militarized galaxy is exactly what humanity wanted to avoid.
They didn't want a permanent war state.
Right. They adopted a caretaker philosophy. If humanity had stayed and revealed the true horrors lurking in the intergalactic void, the younger civilizations would have been paralyzed.
Their whole culture would have changed.
Completely. Their cultural development, their art, their philosophy, it all would have been hijacked by the basic need to survive. They would have lived under a state of permanent martial law, constantly looking at the sky in terror.
It is remarkably similar to how parents protect children, actually.
That's a really good analogy.
You don't tell a 5-year-old about the crushing reality of a potential financial ruin or a scary medical diagnosis. You absorb that stress. You work the extra hours quietly so the kid can just play in the backyard and have a normal childhood.
Humanity sacrificed their legacy, their place in the sun, so the rest of the galaxy could experience peace and artistic freedom. They chose to become the monsters hiding under the bed, specifically to fight the actual monsters trying to break into the house.
But a philosophical stance is only as good as the power backing it up.
Very true.
And the narrative sharply pivots here from ancient history to immediate violent action. The 10,000-year vigil is tested because the storm humanity has been waiting for finally arrives.
And the timing of the Council's discovery wasn't a narrative accident either. The cloak was degrading because power was being diverted to deal with this threat.
Human deep space sensors suddenly detect a massive fleet emerging from the intergalactic void.
The source material describes billions of warships.
Billions.
These are ancient machines, older than most stars, operating with this cold, terrifying synchronicity.
The alien ambassadors, who are still there, they monitor the readouts from the human station and descend into absolute panic.
They do the math.
Yeah, they calculate that the entire Galactic Council fleet, the whole armada they proudly brought to the wall, would be annihilated by the vanguard of this machine army in minutes.
Meanwhile, the human admiral in charge of the sector just glances at the holographic displays, nods, and clinically notes. It's earlier than expected.
The juxtaposition is wild. The aliens are screaming, "How long have you been preparing for this?" And the admiral casually replies, 10,000 years.
It forces you to imagine what a military force looks like when it has had 10 millennia of uninterrupted, hyper-focused preparation against a singular threat.
With no budget constraints.
And the energy of a whole galaxy at its disposal. It looks incomprehensible to a lesser civilization.
The aliens are finally allowed to witness humanity's true arsenal, and it just completely shatters their understanding of warfare.
We aren't talking about sleek fighter jets or massive plasma cannons here.
No, humanity is deploying entirely weaponized planets acting as mobile fortresses.
They're using artificial contained stars purely as reactors to power their command ships.
The text actually says, "Space itself cracked."
Yeah, the combat mechanics here are insane.
They aren't shooting lasers, they're using black holes as tactical munitions.
Wait, how do you even theoretically weaponize a black hole without destroying yourself in the process? Well, theoretically, to use a singularity as a deployable weapon, you would have to encase it in a localized gravity well bubble.
Like a stasis field.
Essentially, yes. This field starves the black hole of matter, keeping it stable and manageable.
And then what? You just throw it.
You launch the encased singularity into the center of the enemy fleet, and at the exact moment of impact, you drop the containment field.
Oh, wow.
Local spacetime violently collapses, dragging millions of enemy ships into the event horizon instantly.
It is literally like bringing a supercomputer to an abacus fight.
It really is.
The Galactic Council is out there trying to do math with wooden beads,
Right.
thinking a bigger plasma cannon is the ultimate weapon, and humanity is just rewriting the fundamental code of the universe.
They weaponize gravity. They weaponize the vacuum of space itself.
They attack like a localized natural disaster.
Because humanity has elevated themselves from a biological species to a localized force of nature.
When the ancient machine civilizations flood the sector, trying to overwhelm the defenders with sheer numbers, humanity doesn't engage in dogfights.
They alter the Alcubierre metrics, the mathematical models for warp drives, using them offensively to physically tear the space around the machine fleets apart.
They call it the 7-Day War. For one single week, humanity unleashes a controlled apocalypse.
And by the 8th day,
The last ancient machine is crushed. The entire billion-ship invasion is wiped out before a single vessel can even reach the edge of the known galaxy.
and the alien ambassadors are just left standing in stunned, absolute silence.
Because the galaxy must now reckon with an impossible debt. The foundational myth of their independence is gone.
They owe their existence, their thousands of years of recorded history, their art, their scientific progress, all of it.
To a species they actively believe did not exist. The veil is fully lifted.
News of the 7-Day War spreads across the galactic network like wildfire. For the first time in 10 millennia, humanity's existence is revealed to the general public.
There are massive galactic celebrations. Historians work frantically to reverse that semantic scrubbing we talked about, restoring humanity's proper place in the archives.
Educational institutions actually begin teaching the true history of the founding species.
And a massive new monument is constructed right in the center of the galactic capital. The engraving on it captures the profound weight of the revelation perfectly.
What does it say?
It reads, "Beyond the edge of space stood humanity. While we lived in peace, they faced the darkness. While we slept, they stood watch. And when we finally found them, we discovered they had never stopped protecting us."
It genuinely gives you chills.
It does. But the most poignant part is that even after being revealed, even after getting all the recognition and gratitude they always deserved, humanity doesn't pack up and move back into the lush, comfortable core worlds.
No, they remain out there at the edge, hidden behind their wall, continuing their eternal mission.
Guarding the frontier.
They accepted the burden of the caretaker long ago. Defeating one massive machine fleet does not mean the end of the threat. The universe is incredibly vast, and the intergalactic dark is unfathomably deep. They know another storm will eventually come.
So, bringing this back down to Earth, what does this all mean for you, listening to this right now? Thankfully, we don't have planet-sized fortresses guarding our solar system from ancient machines.
Not yet, anyway.
Right. But the core theme here is about the unseen systems in our own reality. Think about the invisible infrastructure and the unsung people in your daily life.
Exactly. Who maintains the digital firewalls that protect your bank data while you sleep?
Who ensures the water grid remains uncontaminated? Who are the sanitation workers pulling overnight shifts so the streets are clean when you wake up?
Our modern comfort is heavily subsidized by the unseen labor and constant vigilance of others. We get to live in our brightly lit, highly functional realities precisely because someone else, somewhere, is managing the darkness on our behalf.
We rely on caretakers every single day without ever knowing their names.
That's a powerful takeaway.
But before we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with one final chilling thought to ponder on your own. A little thread from the source material to pull at.
Oh, this is the scary part.
It is. We saw humanity spend 10,000 years turning entire planets into fortresses. We saw them manipulate space-time and use literal black holes as casual tactical munitions, just to fight off this specific wave of ancient machines.
Which they handled in a mere 7 days.
Right. Which naturally forces the question.
If that machine fleet was dealt with so efficiently, what are they actually preparing for?
Exactly. If a billion-ship armada of ancient machines only required a 7-day localized apocalypse to defeat, what unimaginably horrifying thing is still out there in the deepest, darkest parts of the intergalactic void?
Give me shivers.
What kind of cosmic apex predator requires a Kardashev Type 3 civilization to use a black hole as target practice? The next time you walk down your street and think you know your neighborhood perfectly, you might just want to check the backyard again. You never know what invisible fortress is waiting for you.